You say the last couple months of your life have been hard. Try since birth. You see, this was never personal, Lauren. It's just business.
Growing up in different environments can have a real significant impact on a person's life experiences, values, opportunities, and overall outlook on life. There's a difference between those who grew up with a privileged background to those who grew up in the street and drug game. Circumstances for majority of our characters on Power Book 2 Ghost are tough, and unfortunately that's the hand that they've been dealt, which is why they make the decisions they make. Some decisions are just business and not personal. Josefina Morales was someone who grew up in an environment where her mother used to bring home different guys every week. One of them was a scumbag who liked to sexually abuse her when Effie was merely a kid. What her mother did when she opened up to her after watching an episode of Oprah was marry him, and to her knowledge, she's still with him to this day. She was also said to be a drunk who lost her way after Effie's brother was killed in a robbery gone wrong, and so she no longer bothers with her parents, they leave her alone and she leaves them alone, so she says, and I'm gonna come to a little theory later on. Now, we don't choose where we grow up, we don't choose the environments we're born in, and we don't choose our parents or the values and life lessons they teach. This is a fact of life that rings true in the story of Power for many of our characters, where choices are made for them from a young age. But as they get older and learn about the world they live in, they're able to make more informed decisions about who they want to become. Although they won't admit it, some of these characters are becoming the one person that they despise the most. For Effie, her upbringing and past meant that she's had to forge her own path and make her own way in life. She decided she doesn't want to let her family define who she could be in the future. She's also had a safety number in mind to get her through college and higher education in California on this quest for freedom. Unfortunately, in chasing this freedom, she's actually landed herself in a game which only ever tends to end in death or jail. Now, why there was a deeper meaning to this conversation between Lauren and Effie is because this is the sad reality of the world we live in. As many may despise Effie for the decisions she made in betraying Tariq St Patrick, we always tend to look at different perspectives in my videos, and this video is more about the sad truth about the reality of the world we live in and the upbringing of our characters in Power Book 2 Ghost, why Effie's made some of the decisions she's made and the differences in upbringing, street versus privilege. I'm also going to come to some clues and theories about Effie's mother being introduced in Season 4, as we touch on some thoughts and theories later on, but back to the conversation between Effie and Lauren. Lauren explained how her life had been difficult in the last few months because of how Effie tried to kill her while the people that were responsible were living and enjoying their lives. Now, after episode 2, the word I used was unhinged. Lauren was unhinged because she was in a jail cell of her own. She may not have been in an orange jumpsuit behind four walls, but she certainly was in a prison cell which she blamed Effie for, something which she later blamed Jenny Sullivan for as well. But try since birth was Effie's response. Her move against Lauren was business and not personal because she threatened her future. Lauren comes from a privileged upbringing and a privileged background where you have access to greater resources and opportunities. Characters like Lauren, Tariq St Patrick and Braden Weston grew up with better financial capabilities. They were able to pursue education and they were able to network and position themselves at the front of the class. Now, this is something we can all relate to, not just in the classroom, but also in the real world of business and in the boardroom. Some of us have to work twice as hard to get to the same position as the other, who may have a friend working high up in the company you've been working for 10 years. But being at the front of the line means you have a greater chance of success, and based on your upbringing, you're either given a head start or you're at the back of the line. If Lauren was stood in this classroom at this moment in time, she'd be stood here, right at the front, looking back at Effie. Growing up in an environment like Effie did, in an environment where the drug game was at her doorstep, exposed Effie to crime, the drug, and the consequences that come with it.
Look, you found the game, okay? The game ain't find you. See, where I'm from, that shit comes straight to your front door, but you made a choice.
While Effie grew up in a disadvantaged environment which had a number of obstacles, one thing she didn't do was let her parents define her future. Effie worked hard to get the position she was in at Stansfield, but along the way betrayed Tariq St Patrick at Choate, showing she was always business first. Lauren came from a privileged background and she would have had all the access to the education and opportunities that Effie didn't, but it doesn't mean that those who are in this position didn't work hard to get to the position they're in, but Lauren certainly had a head start. Now, unfortunately, when she threatened Effie's future, it was a business move that Effie made to take Lauren off the board.
You see, this was never personal, Lauren. It's just business.
A business move which she failed to carry out till the end. One of the principles from the 48 Laws of Power teaches us never go halfway, because even if you leave the smallest of sparks, it will eventually ignite a fire. And because Effie failed to carry out her plan till the end and crush her enemy, this was a fire that started in Season 3. She found herself in an orange jumpsuit and the power had completely shifted around this table. Power works in cycles, and where Effie was holding the power with a gun in Season 2, Lauren had the power to lock her away for a very long time. So lucky for Effie, Tariq was still on her side because he needed something, and that was a picture of Noma's daughter. In this game, it's always a favor for a favor, and that's what their relationship had become. Business, not personal. He stepped in by making Lauren feel like she was in more danger if she testifies, rather than if she didn't. A strategy he learned from Obi when he threatened their loved ones earlier in the season, and it definitely worked. Now, just a quick question on Effie being in jail, which is something they may well answer in season 4. The question is, who was her lawyer that she was trying to contact?
If you don't like a gift horse, I can give you a referral.
I have someone, but some bitch keeps cutting in front of me on the phone line. Can't contact him.
She refused Davis's help and said that she had her own lawyer, and I wonder if this is something that they'd revisit and tell her who her lawyer was. Again, just like Obi mentioning the green cards which I went through in this video, maybe this could be a little breadcrumb left for season 4. But being on the other side of those walls, Effie was in a place where Tariq found himself in season 2, and even she acknowledged Tariq's resilience, but more importantly, it was clear that Effie still had feelings for Tariq.
All the shit that you said in Italy, was that was just nothing? What about our future?
She may have slept with Kane and she may have accepted him paying for her tuition, but she only did so because she had to survive, and it's survival by any means necessary. In reality, Effie loved Tariq. Despite everything, she wasn't willing to turn on him, so when Tariq shut her down telling her he can't trust her, she was hurt, and considering she's betrayed him before, he should have seen what was coming. This game really is unforgiving, and any slightest of mistakes or opportunities you give your opponents or enemies, they're going to take advantage. Don't give anybody a sniff of any kind of weakness. Now, if I were in Tariq's shoes, even though he couldn't trust Effie, I would have played Effie close, because then he would have avoided a situation like this.
This bitch.
Effie makes a business move. Before Tariq could find Nomar's daughter, Anya Covington, and use her for leverage, Effie went to Nomar and told her about how Tariq was threatening her daughter, and how she was working with Nomar because they have a future together. But Effie's made the most dangerous move of her life yet, and this is what Alex Dupree had to say post season 3. Nomar is brutal and bloodthirsty as ever, and now we have to figure out how in the hell we're gonna appease her. They put Effie into the wildest circumstances to where, at any point, she could end up dead. So just how I once said Lauren was in a prison cell of her own, Diana came out of one jail cell and into another. The same could actually be said about Effie. Her sole aim and purpose is to hit a safety number which is enough to pay for grad school in Cali, and then she's out the game. But working so closely with a connect like Nomar who runs a global empire, it's never that straightforward. You can't just walk away. So Effie may not be as smart as she thinks, and I think there's going to be even more trouble, not just when it comes to Nomar.
I'll finish digging in some Rouse's records.
Effie is like a closed book when you're just trying to read chapter by chapter, trying to find out who this character is, what her motivations are, why she's making some of the decisions she's making, and is there a bigger backstory as to why she is beyond what we've been told. So Junior is someone who said he was going to continue digging into Effie's records to see what he could find, and what could he have found, because even Obi didn't find family members to threaten Effie with earlier in the season. So Effie's backstory is one which still remains a bit of a mystery, but going into season 4, we might just get some answers. Alex Dupree replied to a tweet and said yes to someone when they questioned whether we could see her mother in season 4, and it does make sense, because two questions we still have is, who are her parents, and who was a brother that was killed in a robbery gone wrong. Bringing Effie's mother in definitely adds a different dimension to Effie's character, because this is a relationship which is definitely damaged, but even if it is damaged, does that mean she stopped caring? One question I certainly have is, where does all her money go? We know she puts it towards her education, but despite everything that's happened with her mother, could she be paying for her to go to rehab or recovery? Does she send money to look after her family even though she said she leaves them alone and they leave her alone? One thing we've learnt across Power is, we can't trust what anybody says, especially a character like Effie. It's certainly a conversation that needs to be had, and the records that Junior's digging into, who knows what he's gonna find. But if her mother is introduced, her relationship with Effie isn't the only thing that we need to watch, because she could also be targeted as a weakness. Weaknesses in this game definitely come in different ways. There's love, as Effie knows, and family is another. As I mentioned before, one of Obi's strategies was to use family as a weakness, and he's also someone who I think could be an ally for Tariq St Patrick in season 4. So Effie's mother, if she is introduced, then she's someone that could definitely be targeted potentially by Tariq with the help of Obi, because Anya Covington was moved to safety, so if he can't get to Anya, then maybe he can get to Effie's mother to get to Effie to work as an inside mole. But she might not just be targeted by Tariq, but also Nomar if the partnership with her doesn't quite work as planned. And let's be honest, as much as Effie and Kane played their role in Tariq's organization at the beginning of season 3 with their skill set, Tariq was the brains behind their organization. And can they build a business without Tariq? This also goes back to what Alex said. They need to find a way to appease Nomar, because if they don't turn a profit, it's the same shit all over again. So Effie's now entering the street game, something which she eventually wants to leave. So I think this is a character who's still going to be kind of conflicted about what she wants. So what's her endgame? Because Kane definitely doesn't share the same vision. At this moment in time, it's probably just survival. We all know she does what she has to do to survive, but how they begin to move weight in the midst of a war with Tariq, Brayden, and potentially even Obi, who knows? But in the long term, Effie is definitely stuck and she's in trouble because Tariq will definitely want her head in season 4, and I really don't think Tariq will hesitate in targeting Effie's mother if he has to. So drop all your thoughts down below and let me know what your thoughts are on what's next for Effie, and how the introduction of Effie's mother could answer so many questions about her backstory, but also how Tariq could use her as leverage. But drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.